McDonald's High School All-American Game now. Welcome to a sold-out United Center here in Chicago. The Windy City's basketball fans have turned out in force for the 2011 McDonald's All-American Game. 24 of the best of the nation representing the East and the West meet tonight. Hi, once again, everyone. I'm Bob Wischusen alongside Stephen Bardo and Jay Williams. Jay, in 1999, played in this game.
So long ago.
Does it bring back some memories? It's not that long ago.
Not that long ago, but you know what? Immense excitement. These kids have waited their whole life for a moment like this. I think I'm really interested to see all these guys are respective stars in their own state, but who's going to come out here and be a little nonchalant compared to the person coming out here with the mentality of being a killer?
Well, we've got someone who was a killer in this state. He played his college basketball, obviously at Illinois, and also now calls Chicago home. So, Steve, it's amazing the support that this community has given to this game. We've got 22,000 fans here tonight to watch these stars.
You're talking about from Isaiah Thomas to Marcus Liberty to Derrick Rose in the house that Jordan built here in Chicago. Many people in this part of the country think this is where the basketball mecca is, and I think the fans are showing it tonight.
Well, one of the players, as we take a look at our Star Watch, that also calls Chicago home is a young man that has really burst on the national scene in Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis grew 7 inches about a year and a half ago, and so he has guard skills, and a big man's body will be a tremendous asset to the Kentucky Wildcats next season.
And then Austin Rivers, the most explosive scorer in this class. Winter Park, Florida was a school he attended, averaged 30 points per game, 6.5 assists. And this young man has unlimited range and that killer mindset we talked about.
Well, the fourth member of our broadcasting crew is Quinn Kesnick, as he's standing by with our Star Watch players.
Thanks, Bob. Last year at this moment, nobody knew who Anthony Davis was. Now he is here in the McDonald's All-American Game. How do you best describe your journey?
It's been a great journey. You know, coming in the same place last year, I would never thought it was going to be a McDonald's All-American. Now, you know, it's a dream come true. You know, especially now it's in my hometown, and I'm here to put on a show for the fans and my friends and family.
Austin, I can sense your excitement right now. What can the fans at home expect to see from you tonight?
Basically, I'm just going to go hard and play my game. You know, I'm not going to do anything outside of my game. I'm just going to come in here and just play hard, man. Just have fun and enjoy this experience, man. It goes by quick, so I'm just going to enjoy every minute of it.
Packed house. You can feel the electricity down here, Bob.
Well, there's no question, Quentin, as we take a look at our starting lineups. And Jay Williams, Brad Beal, the #2 shooting guard in America. He's heading to Florida.
Well, he's the purest shooter in this game, capable of knocking down threes from a long distance. And also, he moves without the basketball, which it makes very difficult for teams to guard him.
And if P.J. Hairston comes back as he goes to North Carolina and compliments the team for Roy Williams, that should be very solid next year.
He's one of the biggest sleepers in this class at 6'6". He has the size and the upper body strength to really attack you in transition. Also can knock down the long-range jet.
Stephen, point guards always seem to take center stage in this game, and Marcus Teague's a good one.
Hey, Marcus Teague is excellent. A strong guard, one of the fastest guys with the basketball. He should fit in well with the Kentucky lineup as well next season.
And Josh Pastner just got a contract extension. The reason why, he keeps bringing him on McDonald's All-Americans to Memphis, and he's got another one coming in Adonis Thomas.
Yeah, you talk about a special player, 6'7", the ability to post up. He's a mismatch and matchup nightmare for opposing guards or bigs.
The East wears the red, the West wears the black, and the tip won by Johnny O'Brien. The hair not hard to spot. A #7 power forward in America. He is in the pivot. He's going to LSU, and Michael Gilchrist starts the game off with an air ball. Not what you normally see from the #1 small forward in the country. He played his high school basketball at St. Pat's in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and he is also going to Kentucky.
Gilchrist is a high school version of Scottie Pippen. He can lock you down defensively, has a 7'1" wingspan, also can put the ball on the floor and attack the rim with the best of them.
Anthony Davis got back on defense and came up with the intercept.
You're not going to see a whole lot of defense until the last 5 minutes.
Well, they know it also, Steve. I'm looking for the guys who are trying to play defense. You know, this was a game, for me especially, I wanted to come in and I wanted to challenge everybody else. You know, you might see people in the AAU circuit or see people in high school tournaments, but now this game being on a national platform, this is my time to shine. So I look forward to seeing the mindsets of a couple of players who are true comparators.
Do you anticipate any particular player having that mindset?
Well, there's one right there. I mean, Brad Beal, he not only can knock it down, he gets great lift on his jump shot, but also can put the ball on the ground off curls. He just has a great demeanor about him and his ability to attack the basket.
Austin Rivers attacks the basket. Misses his first shot. By the way, Wayne Blackshear, number 21 in black. A surprise start tonight. The number 4 shooting guard in the country going to Louisville. He dislocated his shoulder this week in practice. He had his arm in a sling yesterday and all of a sudden shows up on the court to start tonight's game as Beal has all 5 points that have been scored so far. Here's Rivers from the corner. That's off the mark. Keeping it alive, though, is Cody Zeller. If the last name rings a bell, it should. As Zeller goes to Rivers for the backdoor layup.
And, of course, Austin Rivers and Brad Beal guarding each other. Billy Donovan got a really good pick in this young man. And both these guys committed to the same school originally. Austin Rivers wanted to go to school in Florida, committed, then decommitted, decided to take some time, rethink his decision, decided to go to Duke.
Another famous basketball name with the putback is James McAdoo, the nephew of Bob, with the putback inside.
It's fun talking to James yesterday. Kind of a laid-back young man, but very interesting, very thought-provoking in what he was saying and how he enjoys this opportunity.
Here's Quinn Cook, who's also going to Duke with the left hand. He couldn't convert. And Teague in the corner. Saves it. Rivers underneath to Zeller. How about the pressure on Cody Zeller? He is now going to be, whether he likes it or not, the savior of Indiana basketball as he decided to stay home. Obviously, the other Zeller brothers, to a certain extent, left. Not the state. In the case of Luke, he went to Notre Dame, but Tyler went to North Carolina, and Cody decides to stay home and play for Tom Crean.
You know what, though? I like that decision because he knows he'll be counted on immediately, and you like young people to step into a challenge like that. He understands the pressure and knows the hoop hysteria over in Indiana, and he's embracing it.
Also, he's a high-energy guy and also can space you out just like Tyler Zeller can step back, knock down the three-point shot in a pick-and-pop situation.
The putback inside by Brad Beal.
But Brad Beal, like you said, Jay, looks like he's come ready to play tonight. He's going right at Austin Rivers.
Blackshear with a crossover. Lost it on the way up.
He got hit.
Zeller finds Davis down the lane, and Anthony Davis throws it down. He wasn't doing that when he was a point guard 2 years ago.
I mean, how much better does it get for John Calipari? I mean, last year they had a great recruiting class, couldn't make the Final Four, obviously. This year, another great recruiting class. They make the Final Four with 4 McDonald's All-Americans playing in this game. John Calipari, once again, just shows you how he's a mastermind at recruiting the top players in the country.
Austin Rivers fouled from behind by Brad Beal. Beal has 7 of the East's 11, but the highlight so far, Anthony Davis.
Well, Anthony Davis showing you what people in Lexington will see for the next couple years.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of the McDonald's All-American High School Basketball Game is brought to you by McDonald's. I'm loving it. And Scottrade. Get invested.
ESPN Fantasy Baseball. Sign up for free at ESPN.com.
McDonald's Big Mac. Handcrafted for that one-of-a-kind taste and made just for you.
You want it faster? Faster it is. The all-new, easier than ever Scottrader streaming quotes. Follow the trading day with powerful tools. Keep an eye on market movers. Link the stocks you're watching with real-time news and charts. And strike at just the right moment.
Supermodel Cindy Crawford drinks Propel Zero. It keeps her body replenished with vitamin C and D, energized with B vitamins, and protected with antioxidants. Because she knows a thing or two about looking and feeling good. Introducing new zero-calorie Propel Zero.
I just read that people who own iPhones have the most sex.
1 in 5 relationships now begin on an online dating site.
I have the droid.
Awkward.
Match.com. More dates, more relationships, and more marriages than any other site. Start for free today.
Hey, Troy, you think this Head & Shoulders will really work for me?
Yeah, man. It's formulated to give you thicker looking hair in 1 week. Check it out. Full of molecules, dude.
Head & Shoulders Hair Endurance Shampoo cleans to give you thicker looking hair in 1 week.
Hi, I'm Dan Hesse, CEO of Sprint. The other day, I looked up the word unlimited in the dictionary. Nowhere in the definition did I see words like metering, overage, or throttling, which is code for slowing you down. Only Sprint gives you true unlimited calling, texting, surfing, TV, and navigation on all phones. Why limit yourself?
Sprint, the only national carrier to give you true unlimited. Find out more at sprint.com.
The 2011 McDonald's All-American game. Doc Rivers here to watch Austin Rivers. And back in 1979, 1 year before Doc played in the McDonald's All-American game. That wasn't a bad class. Isaiah, Dominique, Worthy, and Sampson all playing in that game. Bob Wischusen alongside Stephen Bardo and Jay Williams. Now, guys, when we take a look at the roster breakdown, obviously many different schools are represented, but what strikes me is where most of the talent is concentrated. We've got 7 players going to the SEC, 5 to the ACC, 5 to the Big East. No one on this roster for any of the 2 sides is going to a Pac-10 school. Only 2 players going to the Big 12. Does it surprise either of you that such a concentration of talent, at least according to the McDonald's folks, are basically all east of Chicago?
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with what's hot during the last few years. The last 2 or 3 years, the schools that were doing the best, that's what these young guys are looking at. And that's what, unfortunately, that's what sometimes they base their decisions on. And so the Pac-10 was excellent 4 years ago, but they had a mass exodus early to the NBA and thus has struggled in recent years.
Well, I'll tell you a kid who's hot, who I thought should have been in the game, Nick Johnson. He's the nephew of, he's a nephew of Dennis Johnson, who played for the Boston Celtics. Also his father, Joey Jumpin' Johnson, who played for ASU as well. So this young man is explosive talent, can jump out the gym. A lot of people thought he should have been in this game as well, going to Arizona.
We've got wholesale substitutions for both teams in the game. This is Mike Kabongo, who was Nick Johnson's teammate at Findlay Prep. Feeds it inside, unable to hit was Kim Birch heading to Pittsburgh, but on the offensive rebound, Michigan State's new star, Brandon Dawson, with the putback.
Kind of surprised at Kim Birch. He's got the undershirt on like it's cold, but he's from Montreal. He should be used to this by now.
Mike Kabongo from Toronto as well. I think the best point guard in this class. Always has his head up, always looking to pass the ball ahead.
Like lightning, he finds Thomas. In and out for Adonis Thomas. Offensive rebound, though, by Wilcher. Wilcher rolls it off the rim. He's an Oregon product. He's going to Kentucky. And there's the putback for Kim Birch, the #1 center, according to our ESPNU Top 100. Again, heading to play for Jamie Dixon at Pitt.
One of the few McDonald's All-Americans that Pittsburgh will enjoy. Kim Birch going strong at the hole. Had a busted eye when Bob and I talked to him yesterday, and so, you know, it's not all fun and games. They're getting after a little bit.
No, we mentioned to him, who would have ever thought that going to the Big East would be a physical break from the McDonald's All-American practices?
Also, Pittsburgh has another big man, 6'11". He played with Raheem Christmas at Academy New Church, called Malcolm Gilbert. So, once again, Pitt losing Gary McGee. They're going to have a solid front line once again.
And it looks as though Kim Birch, when we've seen him, still a little offensively raw, but just long, athletic, and plays hard, will fit right in to Jamie Dixon's system.
Pitt, once again, they're going to be a really good basketball team. Ashton Gibbs is back. Nazir Robinson, Dante Taylor, Trevon Woodwall, Talib Zana. They only lose Gilbert Brown, Gary McGee, and Brad Wanamaker, but allowing a lot of opportunities for guys to come in and make quick, instant impacts.
Kabongo rolls it off the rim, and Birch is fouled.
With Mike Kabongo, people will love this young man right here down in Austin, Texas. His personality is much bigger than his game, and he's got a whole lot of game, ladies and gentlemen.
I just feel like everybody from Canada goes to Texas.
Wouldn't you?
Corey Joseph, Tristan Thompson, now Mike Kabongo.
Everyone from Canada that goes to Findlay Prep that goes to Texas. That's the pipeline. And here's our ESPN Rise player profile on Kem Birch. ESPN Rise, where high school athletes reach higher. Log on to ESPNRise.com for more information.
I mean, if I'm in Canada and I'm seeing snow 7-8 months out of the year, and then I go to Vegas for high school, why wouldn't you want to stay in the warm weather climate? I know when I went around and thought in college, I was like, man, I could have gone to school in a warm weather climate. Are you kidding?
And Texas is going to be really good next year as well. Jordan Hamilton, Tristan Thompson both said they're coming back. They lose some guard play with Dozbabe, Jay Lucas, but still, with Mike Kabongo coming in, you got guys that can knock down shots, they're going to run the floor. Alexis Wingman is still there as well. Texas should be right back in the hunt for the Big 12 title.
Brandon Dawson, number 22, will be one to watch as well, going to Michigan State.
Kabongo with a little head fake. The lefty flip won't go. Kept alive inside, a block, and a foul called. So that will put Brandon Dawson at the free throw line.
And guys, I think what makes Mike Kabongo so special, he has the one-on-one ability to really break you down off the dribble. A ton of shake and bake in his game. But then if you're a big man or if you're a wing, the thing you love about him the most, he's only going to take the shot if it's wide open. He's mostly looking to come into that paint and create a shot for his teammates. I mean, if you're a shooting guard or a 3 or 4 or 5, you would love to play with a guy like Mike Kabongo.
No, I totally agree. And like you said, always has his head up and seems to enjoy the assist as much as he does scoring the rock.
Speaking of which, a throw down by Shane Bohannon. Will be playing for Rick Pitino next year. Here comes Kabongo the other way. Boy, you blink and Kabongo's got the ball at the other end of the floor. And Brandon Dawson hits the turnaround fadeaway.
And that's what Texas wants to do anyway. They want to push the ball after made baskets.
Here comes Kabongo. Numbers for the West. He lost the ball, though. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope has it stripped away. He'll go to the free throw line as Kabongo commits the foul. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, the number 6 shooting guard and number 22 player overall in our ESPNU Top 100. Now, he has chosen to stay home and go to Georgia as we take a look at our ESPN Rise player profile on Caldwell-Pope. And for Mark Fox, as he comes into the Georgia job, to get a McDonald's All-American, I have to think, is a big step forward in where that program may eventually be able to return.
Yeah, because he's in a hotbed of talent. Kentucky, Tennessee won't be down for long. Florida had a tremendous year, and Brad Beal coming in will make them only stronger. Alabama in the championship game of the NIT. So Mark Fox needing to make a splash in that Atlanta and Georgia area, and Kentavious is excellent for him.
A steal by Shannon Scott. He's going to Ohio State next year, and the future Buckeye is able to lay it in.
Well, Shannon Scott and Aaron Craft to make a great backcourt. You know, going back to Kentavious, I got a chance to talk to Mark Fox, and he's extremely excited about having this young man. He also tries to lock down the defensive end, but him and Dustin Ware will be a really good backcourt. And you have to question if Trey Tompkins and Travis Leslie, if they decide to come back, then Georgia will be a heck of a basketball team.
Well, Buckeye fans, Cameron Hayward, a great defensive end at Ohio State. You have him to thank for getting Shannon Stott to come to Columbus. He did the recruiting job.
Today, investors want retirement planning on their terms.
I want to work with people who are objective.
How about a plan with my name on it?
Not someone else's.
Can we start with realistic goals, please?
And research that's strictly third party.
Show me how to keep more retirement money in my pocket.
Now and down the road. Those are my terms.
Those are my terms.
Those are my terms.
Then this is your place. TD Ameritrade, where millions of investors plan for retirement on their terms.
It's time. The pursuit of elusive glory begins. To beat me, the world will need to swing smarter, escape danger, and defy pressure. It's me against them.
At Massey Services, we're committed to great service.
That's why I promise to perform a complete analysis of your landscape.
I promise to provide proper nutrition and expert care for weeds, insects, and disease.
And I promise, if you ever need me, I'll be back.
On time, at your convenience.
And at no additional cost.
The bottom line, your satisfaction is more than a promise. It's our guarantee. Massey Services. Expect more and get it.
When Farah and Farah handles your case, your problems become our problems. As far as we're concerned, it's about you, your recovery, your family, your job, your future. Call us at 396-5555.
We'll double the offer. Just pay separate processing and handling. You'll get 2 complete Fast Bright Lens Restore Kits, an amazing $40 value for only $10. Call or click now.
Back at the 1995 McDonald's All-American game. KG, Paul Pierce, Vinsanity, part of that class. And speaking of which, ESPN is your NBA destination. A doubleheader coming up on Friday night. And at 8 Eastern, Paul Pierce and the Celtics continue their quest for the #1 seed as they take on Joe Johnson and the Hawks. Then at 10:30, Kobe and the Red Hot Lakers meet the Jazz. The NBA on ESPN Friday. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern with Kia NBA Countdown. Both games also available online at ESPN3.com and on your phone. So the Celtics and Hawks on Friday night. Doc Rivers here to watch his son Austin, and he's standing by with Quinn Kesman.
Yeah, he is here. He's a former McDonald's All-American back in 1980. Doc, I want to ask you about that first. What was the takeaway for you from the playing experience back when you were in McDonald's All-American?
Well, it was different for us because we never saw the other players. You know, when I grew up, there was no AAU, so it was your first time seeing the Derek Harpers of the world and measuring yourself against them. So it was not a show, it was a competition.
What was tonight like for you to walk in this arena as a dad?
It's neat. You know, I'm usually here as a player or coach, you know, and this is nice. I mean, this is what you want. As a father, you'd rather do that than coach or anything else.
What's the biggest challenge for you being a basketball coach and watching your son play? How do you maintain the right balance?
Well, I'm just a parent. I really try to coach him. I try to allow him to be coached and stay out of the way and support him in all the other ways.
Did you offer advice for tonight?
No, just have fun. Just enjoy the game.
Well, what about for these young athletes now as they take that next transition to the college level? What are the biggest obstacles they're going to be facing?
Well, it's so much fanfare for all of them now. And so I always, at least with Austin, you're a good high school player. You know, there's other steps you have to take, and you just have to keep working to make it. And I think they'll all do that. These kids seem like they're very hungry.
Yeah, I caught Austin during the slam dunk contest in a back hallway doing some drills before the dunk contest to warm up and to get his calves going. Seems like he's a little advanced in terms of some of that work ethic.
Well, he's been around it, you know, and that's good. The only way any of them are going to make it is by working.
Thanks, Doc.
Oh, thank you.
Busy man right here.
All right, Quinn, thanks very much. And Doc Rivers, I'm certain, is comfortable allowing his son to be coached, considering where he's going to be next year at Duke, playing for a semi-decent coach with a couple of wins on his resume. You know, talking to Austin Rivers yesterday, he said something I thought was interesting when he spoke with Coach K for the first time. Coach K told him, said, you might be the #1 player in the country, but if you come here, you have to earn it, not just on the court, but also in the classroom. That's part of coming to Duke. Austin Rivers said, I like that. I want to go someplace where I have to work hard and I have to earn it. Jay, you were in that atmosphere, obviously, at Duke. What's in front of him?
Well, I think the biggest challenge for Austin, as you see Anthony Davis right there, another big jam, is Austin Rivers is one of the best scorers in the country right now. And it's his job every single night to score 35, 40 points. But the biggest challenge for him is going to be when he has to guard somebody each and every possession. Are you still going to have the legs to score the basketball as much? Which Duke, if they do lose Kyrie Irving next year, they also lose Noah Smith and Kyle Singler because they're seniors. He's going to be expected to carry a lot of that load.
Bucket at one end by Quinn Cook, his future backcourt mate at Duke, and then the answer by Marcus Teague, who's Jeff's younger brother. Of course, Jeff Teague, an ACC star at Wake Forest as well, and Marcus will be playing at Kentucky for John Calipari next year.
Yeah, we saw Marcus this past summer at the Peach Jam AAU event, and he literally took over the championship game.
There's a little Peach Jam right there.
He is so fast from north to south with the basketball, also not afraid to pull up on the mark. And once again, for Kentucky, you got to think of Brandon Knight, who's having a phenomenal NCAA tournament, and Terrence Jones decide to leave to go into the draft. These young players are going to be able to come in right away and make an impact.
O'Brien's fouled the other night at the dunk contest to look at Austin Rivers, and all of a sudden he surprised us all and went old school. There's Doc's old jersey.
Yeah, he's stunned like his daddy right here. It's a nice little dunk right there, but the creativity and understanding the connection that his dad has in the Chicagoland area. Austin Rivers getting busy.
He did his thing in the dunk contest, but LeBron Nash also did his thing in the dunk contest going to Oklahoma State.
Yeah, but you know what? Plumlee got robbed.
Marshall
Plumlee was clowning. They penalized the big man in the dunk contest. I thought he had a supreme creativity.
Getting a hand on that pass was Marshall Plumlee, the third Plumlee brother to play in this game, and he's got one he can hold over Miles and Mason. He went to the Christ School all 4 years, as did Miles for 2 years and Mason for 3. And all 4 years that Marshall Plumlee was at the Christ School, they won the state championship. He's the only guy with 4 rings. The other guys have 2 and 3 respectively. So I said, you know, who's the best player out of the 3? And he said, well, it's a toss-up between Miles and Mason. He was the humble guy. Right? He also said, I've got something I can hold over their heads. I've got 4 state championships. They don't have that many.
And Jay, what I want to know is when Coach Krzyzewski gets real mad, how's he going to differentiate all those guys? Because it's not going to be Marshall. It's not going to be first names.
I have no idea. I'll leave that up to him. But I did get a chance to talk to Chris Collins, the assistant coach at Duke, about Marshall. And I think what he loves about Marshall Plumlee is that Marshall understands that his offensive game is still coming around, but he's going to be a defensive presence in the paint. And he wants to block shots. He wants to rebound the basketball. When you have guys who understand their roles, that's when players are able to become something special.
Michael Gilchrist with the hit ahead to Plumlee, who throws it down.
Well, he ran the floor like his life depended on that time. Big fella showing the athleticism.
That's what you want from your big man. Put his head down, run rim to rim.
Teague's floater comes up short. Here comes Gilchrist.
I'll give it back, give it back. Oh.
Gilchrist goes and takes it back himself and has it rejected inside by Anthony Davis. Davis saves it in the corner. And here comes Austin Rivers. LeBron Nash throws it down.
I am impressed with the competitive level in this game. Anthony Davis going out of bounds for the save, being aggressive defensively. I like the competitive nature of these guys bringing it.
That was deep from Quinn Cook going to Duke next year.
Quinn Cook, a really feisty guard, will get underneath you defensively, put great pressure on the ball as Austin Rivers responds.
Another Duke jumper. Blue Devils at both ends for 3.
Well, no hockey line changes are coming in, so you're going to start seeing some shots get jacked without many passes.
Gilchrist, who played for Kevin Boyle at St. Patrick's in Elizabeth, draws the foul. And that'll take us to a timeout. We are seeing competitive fire, as you can see from both of these teams.
Well, guys diving out of bounds to catch the loose ball, and then LeBron Nash put it on the show.
It seemed almost unfair. Each day he was front and center, forced to watch the life he wished was his. How wonderful that must be, grilling those 100% beef patties, crafting the 100% legendary Big Mac. Sadly for him, it just wasn't meant to be. But for you, well, you're not a spatula, are you? The simple joy of complete fulfillment.
Either way. There were 3 moments in Mike and Mike's lives that created their voice. Unique perspectives started freshman year with their love of dessert.
This is a chocolate-covered Twinkie. No, it's an eclair. An eclair is a chocolate-covered Twinkie.
Their chemistry began during their domination of the high school's talent show. And their
Century Metals Roofing Supply is your complete metal roofing supply company for commercial, residential, and agricultural projects. Metal roofing from Century Metals is ENERGY STAR compliant with a 40-year warranty. Save time and money at Century Metals. We manufacture locally and have a variety of colors and styles for pickup or delivery. Lumber and insulation are available.
Call Century Metals for a free quote today.
Century Metals Roofing Supply. Call or go online to centurymetals.net.
Century Metals, quality you can stand under.
Back in 1966, families around here found a better way to do their banking. And still today, they turn to Frederica Credit Union for higher savings rates, lower loan rates, and reduced fees. Now more than ever, it makes sense to be smart with our money at Frederica Credit Union.
Hurry, call now.
To order, call 1-800-709-9646. That's 1-800-709-9646. 1-800-709-9646.
There were Duke players galore in the 1999 McDonald's All-American game. Carlos Boozer, Mike Dunleavy Jr. We throw in Jonathan Bender. Gotta have somebody that didn't go to Duke in that game. And also, guess who? The point guard joining us at the table tonight. There's Jay Williams throwing it down. And then a couple of years later, he got to walk up on stage and shake the commissioner's hand.
With the second pick in the 2002 NBA draft, the Chicago Bulls select Jay Williams from Duke University.
Boy, just as Natalie attired that night as he is tonight, back in his old stomping grounds here in Chicago.
You know, there's nothing like coming home. I got a chance to do a radio show the other day, and you know, it was so good to reconnect with all the fans. And obviously, I wish things could have worked out differently, but you know, it was God's plan, and it's always good to come back here. And it's what a great environment. As you find out, they broke the record tonight for the largest crowd ever in McDonald's All-American history.
Yeah, close to 20,000 on hand tonight at the United Center. Although Jay Williams says it's always nice to come home, and obviously here, kind of a home away from home in Chicago. Don't want the folks back in Durham to be offended, or you've got a guy from Jersey here at the table as well. So, you know, those of us that actually remember you at St. Joe's Metuchen back when we were taking balls out of peach baskets. The Jersey guys won't get offended when you talk about coming home. And speaking of Jersey, here's Michael Gilchrist at the free throw line, a 3-time state player of the year in New Jersey, played at St. Patrick's, and part of the 4 players in this McDonald's All-American game tonight going to Kentucky.
I've gotten a chance to see Gilchrist play a ton, coached by a really good coach, Kevin Boyle from St. Patrick's, New Jersey. And the best thing I like about Gilchrist is the fact that he will take the challenge every single game to guard the other team's best player. And then also, he'll give you 20, 25 points, but also more importantly, he'll give you 15, 20 rebounds as well, on top of doing it on the defensive end.
And being efficient with it. Got a chance to watch the game that he played Winter Park against Austin Rivers' team, which you were on the call for that one, and he took over. He dominated that game, and they won going away on the road at Winter Park High School.
Yeah.
But, you know, Jay, I got to let you in on something. You know, Bob being a Jersey guy, you know, that's Snooki.
Oh, man. That's a kind of a low blow to both of us. I don't know how to respond to that.
No. I'm the situation, and he's Snooki.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, you know, we just have this Jersey Shore thing running back and forth.
So who would I be?
We kind of, you know, with your first name, pegged you as J-Wow. As long as you're okay with that. P.J. Hairston, future Tar Heel, knocks down the jumper. And here's Cody Zeller with a fadeaway. And Indiana's hopeful next star is able to convert.
And I'm going to say this right now. Harrison Barnes is a different person. He's a different individual. He was McDonald's, you know, National Player of the Year last year, playing the game in Columbus, Ohio. If he comes back with the talent they have with John Henson, Tyler Zeller, James McAdoo, who's in this game, P.J. Hairston, Reggie Bullock comes back off injury, Kendall Marshall.
Yes.
I would pick them preseason favorite to win it all.
I'd agree with you on that.
I mean, they are going to be a very dangerous basketball team and be very deep.
Kabongo sets up Zeller. Offensive rebound inside is Kyle Wilcher. Guess where he's going next year? Kentucky.
Embarrassment of riches in the Bluegrass State.
And how about this for Kentucky? Even if Terran Jones and some of those other guys leave, Brandon Knight, yeah, I think Deron Lamb's going to come back, but a top 5 pick in the draft might be a guy from Kentucky that didn't even play, and Denise Cantor.
Yes.
People are talking about him being one of the best solid big men in this entire class.
Yeah, and he would have been one of the better centers in the nation this year in the NCAA tournament. So interesting to see Josh Harrelson filling in for Enes Kanter.
Hairston straight away. That is from NBA range for P.J. Hairston.
With ease.
And he's 6'6", 210. So he also has the ability to attack the rim and finish through contact. And the young man is fearless. There have been some games where he's had over 40-plus points, and he just has unlimited range. A guy that you need on the court to really space the defense.
Rakeem Christmas goes up for the rebound. We haven't even had a chance to talk about the recruiting class that Jim Boeheim has coming to Syracuse next year. There's part of it from the wing. Michael Carter-Williams can't hit. He's going to Syracuse along with Christmas. The biggest lead so far in the game was the East by only 7 as we take a look at the range shown by Hairston.
Easiest three-pointer in the game, right at the top of the key. Easy to line up. Hairston with unlimited range, and you typically don't see McDonald's All-Americans have to come off the bench, but just what Jay was saying earlier, wouldn't be surprised to see that young man battle for reserve minutes.
Takeaway by Shannon Scott. Scott flips it up. Unable to hit, though, on the dunk attempt was Carter-Williams. Keeping it alive is P.J. Hairston, and he cleans it up. Here comes Shannon Scott again. Oh, that a fast break. That was thwarted by a foul call. Thursday night, ESPN2 delivers an exciting night of college basketball. First at 7 Eastern, Wichita State and Alabama in the NIT Championship game at the Garden. And at 9 Eastern, it's the State Farm College Slam Dunk and Three-Point Championships. ESPN, the home court of college hoops on ESPN2 Thursday. Both games available online at ESPN3.com.
Boy, you talk about Wichita State. Got all up in Washington State in that semifinal game. Be a nice, interesting contrast of styles between Alabama and Wichita State. Wichita State, one of the deepest teams in college basketball, and Alabama really goes with about 7 guys.
I guess nobody can argue that Colorado and Alabama belong in the tournament over VCU anymore, huh?
Again, you know what? We'll have that same debate tonight. Look at the McDonald's All-American game. Look where all of these players are going. Really, outside of Adonis Thomas, who's going to Memphis, we have nothing but players tonight going to the Power 6 conferences and the big-name schools. And yet, as we take a look at Brandon Dawson going where? To Michigan State. That's the ESPN Rise player profile on Dawson. In the Final Four on Saturday night, we've got VCU and Butler. One of those 2 teams guaranteed a spot in the national championship game.
And how about this? Only 4 guys from this game are going to a team in the Final Four, and all 4 are going to Kentucky.
Yeah.
Nobody going to UConn, nobody going to VCU or Butler.
And the interesting thing, I think, with that, you look at VCU and Butler, those guys are juniors and seniors. I don't care if you got McDonald's All-Americans. They'll keep you in the game. They'll get you to the stage. But juniors and seniors at the college level are so important with the amount of games under their belt. You're seeing the results with Butler and VCU right now.
And, guys, I tell you a team to watch out for next year. And they lose Rick Jackson, but Syracuse will be a very good basketball team. You got to think with the lockout, supposedly last year the NBA lost $400 million. So I got a chance to talk to Adam Silver, the deputy commissioner. He thinks the chances of a lockout for maybe the entire year are pretty high. So you might have a slew of a lot of players who would eventually usually leave to go into the draft, decide to stay. So you think Chris Joseph decides to come back, stay in school, Scoop Jardine. I mean, they only lose Rick Jackson, and you get Rakeem Christmas, another center down low with Michael Carter-Williams, and then the shooter. And Trevor Cooney, they have a really legitimate chance to be a dangerous basketball team.
Well, in fact, Melo, his production and growth towards the end of the season was very promising as well. So Boeheim continues to get it done.
Rakeem Christmas, by the way, his entire high school career played the center of his own. So it kind of works out for him going to Syracuse.
Beal with the lob as he found James McAdoo behind the defense. McAdoo going to North Carolina next year along with P.J. Hairston.
How big is their front line going to be? John Henson, Tyler Zeller, James McAdoo. It can't get any better.
Amir Williams, who will be playing alongside Jared Sullinger next year at Ohio State. There's some size as well as we take a look at that alley-oop.
Well, that's usually a shooter. That would be like Jay Williams throwing alley-oop. No, that's not right.
So step aside. It's been a while since the McDonald's All-American game was in the Windy City. We'll take a look all the way back to the early 80s when we return.
The greatest matchups haven't happened until now. That's why we want. Business is about to pick up. The irresistible force meets the immovable object. WWE All-Stars. 2 generations, 1 ring. Rated T for teen.
Introducing the Thunderbolt by HTC. Immense power, scorching speed. The first phone strong enough to run on the fastest, most advanced 4G network in America.
I told you you were too close, but nobody ever listens to me. No, 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 no. I mean, who does that? Backs a car into another car? You know what? You make my head numb. I can't even,
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I'll take care of this. With a new boyfriend. Hot.
With a new girlfriend.
Oh, this is what you like.
Yes, it is.
I was perfect the way I was. Okay.
State Farm agents are there when you need them.
Now we're hitting the road with the Pro Glide Challenge! My friend, come on up. What kind of a razor do you use?
The Fusion. Yeah, you got one. It feels great.
You think there's a better razor out there?
I sure haven't found one.
It's a face-off. Fusion versus Pro Glide. Fusion Pro Glide is engineered with Gillette's thinnest blades ever, so it glides for less tug and pull.
Fantastic. I don't feel like I'm shaving.
Ooh, I got a smooth face. I got a clean face. Take the Pro Glide Challenge. And for enhanced glide, try new Fusion Pro Glide Shave Gel.
The last time the McDonald's All-American game was in Chicago, 1982. Kenny Skywalker, who went to Kentucky, future member of the Knicks, won a dunk contest. And there's another Duke point guard, Johnny Dawkins, knocking down the jumper. Brad Daugherty also played in that game, as well as a local product named Ephraim Winters, who won the MVP and eventually end up playing for the Fighting Illini. Just like one of our broadcast partners tonight, as we take a look at the summary so far. The largest lead for either team, the East by 7. It's been very competitive here in the first half. We've had 84 total points scored, and yet no player is in double figures. Bob Wischusen alongside Stephen Bardo and Jay Williams taking in the 2011 McDonald's All-American game. And Amir Williams at the free throw line, a 6'10" center, the number 3 overall center in our ESPNU Top 100, and a top 40 player, as you can see. And the interesting impact he'll have in Ohio State next year, to me, guys, is that he's going to allow Jared Sullinger to move over to his much more natural position of power forward. And that really is what Jared Sullinger is. In college, he plays a lot of center, but I would think he projects more as a power forward, and boy, putting him alongside Amir Williams could greatly impact how Ohio State plays.
Yeah, but if Jared Sullinger follows the path of a lot of Ohio State players, he's gone. Because he's top 10 picks.
His dad was quoted in the paper the other day as saying, lock it up and throw away the key. He is coming back to Ohio State next year. Now, that doesn't mean that minds can't be changed between now and the NBA draft, but it'll be very interesting to see if they do follow through on that promise and come back to Columbus.
Well, and if things work out like Jay was talking about with the impending lockout, if he does stay and Amir Williams can come in and provide yet more size, just like Kentucky and Duke and these schools that are already talent-rich.
And you've got Shannon Scott playing in tonight's game alongside Kraft. If Buford comes back, that's going to be a heck of a team as well.
I agree.
They do lose Diebler, Dallas Lauderdale, David Lottie. I feel like David Lottie has been there forever.
He was a 7th-year senior at Ohio State. You're right.
NCAA career wins leader, I should say.
McAdoo hit a moment ago, and he hits again. James McAdoo with back-to-back jumpers to stretch the East lead to 9. This is their largest.
So I know you're too young, Jay, but you don't remember Bob McAdoo. Bob McAdoo was cold-blooded, man, and James stuck like his uncle.
Speaking of which, cold-blooded Austin Rivers with the reverse.
I think that's what makes James McAdoo so special. He's a guy in a pick-and-pop situation that can knock down the mid-range jump shot, but also you can only imagine that mismatch. If you have a center on him, he has the ability to put the ball on the ground and take it to the rim.
The block inside by Kim Birch. He'll be in Pittsburgh next year. And here's that last move by Austin Rivers.
Well, the crossover, degree of difficulty, 9.8.
I think you have to like about Austin Rivers, his high school coach told me a story one day that after a game they lost, he stayed after the game and got around 500 shots up just to work on his offensive performance. He's a guy that stays after practice every single day to get up 500 shots or more, and then goes to another gym afterwards and walks on his ball handling. So a guy who understands that the harder he works, the better he becomes, and having that kind of work ethic, I think, is something that can take him to a different level.
Well, I was fortunate enough to work out with Doc Rivers in the summers in Atlanta. Got drafted by the Atlanta Hawks, so he was down there. So I can see where the young man gets his work ethic.
ESPN Rise provides high school athletes with recognition, resources, and inspiration to make the most of this incredible time in their lives. ESPN Rise, where high school athletes reach higher. Log on to the new ESPNRise.com for more information. Brian Nash tries to turn the corner. Can't get it to go. Fought 4-1 inside by Johnny O'Brien. And the future LSU center outlets to Quinn Cook. Wide open on the wing, coming up way short as Beal follows his own miss. And Billy Donovan's next guard is able to convert.
Also Florida, they get a Rutgers transfer in from Michael Zario, another good guard that can shoot the basketball and score. Patrick Young comes back, Kenny Boynton comes back, Irving Walker comes back. I mean, a very dangerous lineup from as well. We have another three-point shooter who can really space the floor, but like I said before, a high school version of Ray Allen has great lift off the ground when he rises for that jump shot.
It looks like T going to do a little high pick and roll here, trying to get to the rim.
T, last 8 seconds of the first half.
And he will get to the rim. Doesn't settle for jumpers too much.
Pass deflected. Quinn Cook, good if it goes. And it's off the mark. So the largest lead of the first half is the halftime lead for the East. It's up to double figures. A high-scoring but very competitive first half, 57-44, the East on top. Coming up on our halftime report, we'll take a closer look at Doc Rivers' son, Austin, the National Player of the Year. Also, a very special part of this week every year for the players, their visit to the Ronald McDonald House, and the reason why this game is played and the money that is raised, and some first half highlights, and we had some beauties as the East ends the first half on a 22-7 run to take a 57-44 lead. It's halftime of the 2011 McDonald's High School All-American game. Much more on Austin Rivers when we come back with our halftime report.
It's opening day on ESPN. Tomorrow at 1, the Tigers battle the Yankees in the Bronx. Then the Padres take on the Cards at 4. And in prime time, the defending champion Giants face their arch rivals, the Dodgers. Giants win! The action continues on Friday when the Astros battle Roy Halladay and the Phillies. Here's the pitch, strike three. Then at 4, the new-look Red Sox open up against the Rangers. Here's the throw, he's safe! Opening day gets underway tomorrow on ESPN.
Cheese, beef, and cheese. The perfect simplicity of McDonald's Quarter Pounder with cheese. Simply delicious and made just for you.
I can't decide. Guac or salsa? Salsa is a distillation of many Latin and Afro-Caribbean dances, including the mambo. What? Mambo number 5. A little bit of Monica in my life. You gonna be okay for the party? Parliamentary parties compete for seats in the House of Commons.
College farm animals. Pick. Animal House.
Food fight!
Please don't. Decisions shouldn't be that hard. Find the cure at Bing.com, the decision engine from Microsoft.
Could switching to Geico really save you 15% or more on car insurance? Do dogs chase cats?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Supermodel Cindy Crawford drinks Propel Zero. It keeps her body replenished with vitamin C and D, energized with B vitamins, and protected with antioxidants. Because she knows a thing or two about looking and feeling good. Introducing new zero-calorie Propel Zero.
Those with frequent heartburn imagine a day free of worry. A day when we can eat what we want, drink what we want, and sleep soundly through the night. Finally, that day has arrived with Prevacid 24 Hour. Just one pill helps keep you heartburn-free for a full 24 hours. Prevent the acid that causes frequent heartburn all day, all night. Now we are free, happy. With Prevacid 24 Hour, happiness is a day without heartburn.
Back in Chicago, the 2011 McDonald's High School All-American game. The East leads the West 57-44. The West's leading scorer in the first half was Doc Rivers' son, Austin. He is the 2011 Morgan Wooten Award winner as the National Player of the Year. He had 7 points for the West in the first half. And let's take a closer look at the #1 player in our ESPNU Top 100.
Probably my first memory was when I was in San Antonio about 13 years back. I was about 6 years old, just playing basketball outside with my friends. We had this little mini Space Jam, like Michael Jordan edition basket in our driveway. And we'd all try to do trick dunks, and we'd have like little game sessions out there for like hours. We'd be out there. No idea what my dad did. I just know he was always gone a lot and had to do something with basketball. He did teach me a lot, but at the same time, he kind of let me have a lot of space. You know, a lot of fathers these days like to get, you know, all in their kids' business and have to coach them and train them. You know, my dad just put it on me. What he just tells us is if you really want to be great, you got to work like you're great. And that's all he really told us. And I've kind of took it from there. I think I realized, you know, I could do this for a living was when I was like in 8th and 9th grade. I was in 8th grade playing with the 17 under, you know, playing with my age right now, 18, 17 under. And they put me in a game and I started playing and I was actually, you know, I was handling my own. I was doing, you know, pretty good. And that's when I realized, you know, I could play with these guys. And these guys are 3 or 4 years older than me. You know, imagine what I could do with, you know, people my age. I like to just play make, and each year I'm getting better and better on defense. I like guarding the best guy. I just love the challenge of going against people and going against teams. You know, so I live for it. I'm a low-key guy. I really love music as far as hip-hop, rap, R&B goes. My older brother makes beats like professionally, so I rap a lot. Today I woke up with a mindset that I have to be the best. These dudes coming after me, they don't want this test. Every time I go to the court, man, I give it my all. These dudes underrate me. They don't think I could ball. It means a lot to win this award just because I know the class that I'm in. I always look back to who has won in the past. And what I say to myself is, there's a list of like 20 people, and you see like a good, majority of them are in the NBA. And then you see some names that you don't hear, you've never heard of. And I don't want to be that person, I don't want to be like, hey, who's Austin Rivers? That's not what I want. So that's one of the things I look at. I see it as a competitive thing. I win this trophy, but that means I have a responsibility. I want to go out there and live it out.
Well, the next opportunity that Austin Rivers will have to live out will be at Duke next year, playing for Mike Krzyzewski. And then who knows what lies ahead for the #1 player in the country. A big part of the experience this past week for the players, their visit to the Ronald McDonald House. And we will take you there when we come back here in Chicago.
Hi, I'm Dan Hesse, CEO of Sprint. The other day, I looked up the word unlimited in the dictionary. Nowhere in the definition did I see words like metering, overage, or throttling, which is code for slowing you down. Only Sprint gives you true unlimited calling, texting, surfing, TV, and navigation on all phones. Why limit yourself?
Sprint, the only national carrier to give you true unlimited. Find out more at sprint.com.
Rough, dry skin taking over? There's an easy way to fix that. New Lubriderm Men's 3-in-1. The first and only body, face, post-shave lotion in one bottle.
Do something different?
New Lubriderm Men's 3-in-1.
Pressure can cause anyone's deodorant to fail. Introducing Gillette Odor Shield Antiperspirant that targets and neutralizes odor at the source. Help eliminate odor. Don't just cover it up.
If you're looking at a home security system, or even if you already have one, ADT can give you so much more. Like our keychain remote. Now you can easily arm and disarm your system with the touch of a button. Even turn on your lights. You can also count on fast alarm response from our advanced network of monitoring centers. Plus great local service, ADT's exclusive theft protection guarantee, and a money-back guarantee if you're not completely satisfied. And you can get all this and more for about $1 a day. A single ADT system can help protect you from burglary, fire, and high levels of carbon monoxide. When an alarm is received, ADT can respond quickly, calling the local authorities for help. You can even add new technology like Safe Watch Video View. Now you can know what's happening in your home by actually seeing it on your cell phone, computer, or TV. Even if you already have a security system, it's easy to add ADT monitoring. Call now and get ADT's Essentials Plus security system installed for $99.
It's peace of mind that can also save your life.
ADT, always there.
Back at halftime of the McDonald's High School All-American game here in Chicago, a 13-point lead for the East All-Stars against the West All-Stars. Of course, this game is about much more than just basketball. All of the proceeds go to the Ronald McDonald House charities in the Chicago area, and the players each year visit the local Ronald McDonald House. And on Sunday, the boys' teams went to the south side of Chicago to get an up-close look at the families being helped by the charities. They played some games, helped the kids with coloring, stopped by the hospital as well to visit some of their biggest fans. The day was a home run for everyone, said one player. Proceeds will benefit the local chapters of the Ronald McDonald House charities. And for more on how this game helps the Ronald McDonald charities each year, let's check in now with Quinn Kesnick.
We are joined by Marty Coyne, the president and CEO of Ronald McDonald House Charities. Marty, earlier this week, the athletes visited a local Ronald McDonald House. What type of reaction did they receive?
The families were just overexcited. It was absolutely fabulous. Just think of a family going through the worst time of their life, and these athletes came to visit. And not only did the families enjoy it, the athletes enjoyed it also. And hopefully we can get a couple of volunteers out of it for the future.
What is the importance of this basketball game?
Well, over the last 34 years, this game has raised over millions and millions of dollars. And tonight's game is going to continue on that thing. And we'd like to thank our sponsors, McDonald's Corporation, McDonald's owner-operators, and all the sponsors. Without them, we couldn't do it.
Thank you, Marty.
Thank you.
And Quinn, a record crowd here tonight, close to 20,000 on hand at the United Center. Almost set for the start of the second half. We'll come back with some first half stats and highlights in a moment.
Mon amour, oh ma cœur, c'est vous que j'aime. Thank you, baby.
McDonald's new McCafe shakes. With a fresh look and delicious new toppings, they're a brand new way to indulge. New McCafe shakes. The simple joy of love at first sight.
Come on, Mauer, put your skirt into it. This is the show, not ladies' night at the Duluth Button Hut. I've seen better swings on a porch. Hey, maybe instead of the pure control system, we should have added a make Joe not choke system. Am I right?
With a stick. Well played, Mauer.
The show, rated E for everyone.
PlayStation.
ABC, your destination for the NBA Sunday Showcase. It's the final 2 weeks of the regular season, and the playoff push is heating up. Tony Parker and the league-leading Spurs are fighting to secure home court throughout the playoffs. Sunday, they host Steve Nash and the Suns. Then, the rejuvenated Nuggets tip off
on Tuesday.
I'm watching you.
Little Fockers is the #1 comedy blockbuster.
Can I go climb that big rock wall?
Yeah, okay. That'll make you laugh again and again.
Double dose.
Little Fockers. Own it Tuesday.
Teamwork. You see it in sports and in the military, knowing that someone is there when you need them. At Navy Mutual, we've been teaming up with military families since 1879 by providing quality, low-cost life insurance. You protect our nation, we protect you and your family. No military restrictions or war clauses and no sales fees to pay, just quality service when you need it. Insuring members with loyalty, integrity, and value. That's Navy Mutual. Call 800-628-6011 or visit NavyMutual.org.
What's a good word, Grandpa Jack?
On Tuesday.
Greg, stop talking and listen.
Invite America's funniest family.
Can I go climb that big rock wall?
Yeah, to your next movie night.
Think you can handle it?
I've got this.
Little Fockers. Own it Tuesday.
Farnsworth. Schedule a pickup from Waste Management, and it's gone. Baxter. Take it on. Now available at home improvement retailers. Find out more at thebaxter.com.
It's the 2011 McDonald's High School All-American game. 57-44. The East leads the West. Just about set for the start of the second half. Bob Wischusen alongside Stephen Bardo and Jay Williams, who played in this game back in 1999. The competitive nature of what we saw in the first half, pretty impressive. It's high scoring. You expect that in an all-star game, but this guy's got after it pretty good.
Yeah, we saw some bumps and bruises, some challenges at the rim, and Jay alluded to that at the beginning. He wanted to see who was going to be competitive, who's going to step up. What do you think?
Well, Anthony Davis did a really good job, always coming from the weak side to block shots. Also, you got to give him a ton of kudos for diving out of bounds during an All-American game. And also, you know, Bradley Beal. I mean, this young man came out, was very aggressive at the beginning of the basketball game, shot lights out, had 11 points in the first half, and attacked the rim with authority.
Now, it is an all-star game, so we're going to see some dunks.
Of course.
See some runouts, nice alley-oop right there. I was also impressed with Wayne Blackshear, who came in, didn't know if he's going to play with a separated shoulder, but he was like, I'm not going to miss out on this opportunity.
And then Austin Rivers, a little hand down, man down, and then once again showing you his ability to attack off the dribble and finish with an acrobatic move at the rim.
Austin Rivers led the West with 7. A couple of players in double figures for the East. James McAdoo will be going up against Austin Rivers in the Duke-UNC rivalry game, and Brad Beal for Florida also with 11 points. We'll come back the second half in just a moment here in Chicago, the 2011 McDonald's High School All-American game. Stay with us.
It's beautiful. It's intelligent. Even genius. But does your network work?
Yes, I can hear you now.
This is America's largest and most reliable network, Verizon, built so you can rule the air.
Now we're hitting the road with the Pro Glide Challenge! My friend, come on up. What kind of a razor do you use?
The Fusion. Yeah, you got one.
It feels great. You think there's a better razor out there?
I sure haven't found one.
It's a face-off. Fusion versus Pro Glide. Fusion Pro Glide is engineered with Gillette's thinnest blades ever, so it glides for less tug and pull.
Fantastic. I don't feel like I'm shaving.
Ooh, I got a smooth face. I got a clean face. Take the Pro Glide Challenge. And for enhanced glide, try new Fusion Pro Glide Shave Gel.
Visit memorylane.com and take control of your very own time machine. Browse over 100 million pieces of photo, audio, video, magazine, and yearbook content. memorylane.com. Step back in time.
Who put that on your car? How did that get there?
You guys calm down. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
That's your agent.
Hey, Sarah. Oh.
Oh, I'm next. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there with a giant stuffed panda bear.
That's what you're going with?
No, with Bob Barker.
And a new car.
Yes!
Whoa.
State Farm agents are there when you need them.
There you are. Scooch. Oh.
Oh. So, Houston, great outing today. I'm gonna need you to go again tomorrow.
But I haven't had a day off all week.
Yeah, I know. But no one's bigger than the team, right? If I get one more group email from Chad Keeling about my rotation, I'm gonna lose it.
Tomorrow's still
great. So you will go again tomorrow.
Is that your foot?
I don't know, my legs are numb.
Get closer to the game. ESPN Fantasy Baseball. Sign up for free at ESPN.com.
There is no higher honor for a high school basketball player than playing in this game, the McDonald's High School All-American game. 57-44. The East on top as we're set for the start of the second half. And the fourth member of our broadcast crew is Quinn Kesnick, and he had a chance to speak to a couple of players. Quinn?
Yeah, guys, it's interesting in terms of body language and comfort. A lot of these players, talked to Brad Beal and James McAdoo at the break, and then they both were telling me how nervous they were when this game started. They settled in. Both of them got off to good starts. They think the key to the East being in front right now is strictly the guard play in terms of fewer turnovers. They think they're just playing better as a unit, and I expect to see more fireworks because certainly all these athletes look like they're much more relaxed.
Well, there was a ton of trash talking going on the other day. I mean, some of the guys from Louisville, some of the guys from Kentucky, Duke, and North Carolina. So some of these rivalries already exist.
Well, and they picked up the intensity level right where they left off. Going pretty hard at one another.
Wayne Blackshear with the takeaway and the conversion at the other end by Anthony Davis, the number 2 player. You know, our ESPNU Top 100, and he'll go to the line with a chance for a three-point play.
It's so amazing about Anthony Davis that about a year and a half ago, he was 6'3". You know, now, almost being 7 foot tall, he still has the ability to put the ball on the ground and still very cerebral, like a point guard, understands timing and spacing, and can use both hands. The next step for him, obviously, is putting on weight and understanding how to be a big man. But once he gets it, he's going to be a phenomenal player for the Wildcats and John Calipari.
Oh, yeah, and that training table in Kentucky, I'm sure, is one of the best in the country. He won't have any problem putting on weight.
Blackshear with the hit ahead to Cody Zeller, who was able to dunk it home with a smile on his face. I spoke with Anthony Davis earlier today at the shoot-around, and I said to him, all right, you have to confirm this for me. At the start of your junior year of high school, you were how tall? He said, I was between 6'2" and 6'3". I said, and you're how tall now? There he is, throwing it down. He said, well, closing in on 6'10". He grew 7 to 8 inches in 1 year and went from being a point guard to a power forward, and he is a tremendous ball handler as a result for a player his size.
And Steve, it was so funny because Mike Kabongo came over here before the quarter started and tried to take the ball out of bounds. And Anthony Davis was like, no, Mike, you get it. I got the ball out of bounds. You're the point guard. You go set us up in the play.
Major League Baseball is back. It's finally opening day as ESPN delivers plenty of baseball tomorrow. First at 1 Eastern, Justin Verlander and the Tigers take on CC Sabathia and the Yankees. Then at 4 Eastern, it's the Padres against Albert and the Cardinals. At 8 Eastern, Tim Lincecum back on the mound for the world champion Giants. It's Giants-Dodgers to wrap up a tripleheader of opening day baseball presented by Dick's Sporting Goods on ESPN tomorrow as I go from Chicago back to our old stomping grounds, Jay Williams, New Jersey, into the teeth of a nor'easter and a snowstorm that's supposed to hit New York City. I get home just in time to finally turn on the TV and watch some baseball. At least it'll be spring somewhere other than the Northeast tomorrow.
And very unfortunate for you because Steve and I will be in Houston.
Where it's 80 degrees.
Yes, watching the Final Four.
Yeah, you guys were rubbing it in earlier today. There's no reason to do it on the air. Offensive rebound by Zeller off the Kabongo miss.
Got a little post-up action. Adonis Thomas using his height.
Thomas off the mark. Davis on the offensive glass, though. There's Anthony Davis again. He'll be at Kentucky next year.
You know, and typically when youngsters grow as fast as Anthony Davis has, they get clumsy, like they drop the plate from the kitchen to the table, and you know the voice is messed up and all that, and they lose coordination for a little bit. This is a very, very skilled, not only skill-wise, but physically just gifted young man.
Adonis Thomas fouled from behind. Anthony Davis also a terrific student. Honor roll student all 4 years at high school at Perspectives Charter here in Chicago.
And NBA scouts have to be salivating at the mouth over this young man because he can still do all the ball drills that guards do. He still has the range that a guard has. And also, I mean, his potential is off the charts. I mean, he has a chance to emerge into a KG style of play.
I agree.
Zeller fouled by Michael Carter Williams.
Speaking of Michael Carter Williams, letting the world know where he's going to school with the Syracuse S cut in the back of his head.
We were joking with his aunt last night. I think that S is going to be gone by the time the season starts.
Oh, yeah.
Jim Boeheim.
Yeah. You like the creativity, though. Young fella proud of going to Syracuse and doing his thing there. And I just wanted to know his barber. I need a line myself.
And we told him if there was a chance that we might be confused about where you're going, then we could just have you turn around on camera. And he said, no problem. Give me the high sign, and I'll take care of you.
And Steve, you were saying he's one of the sleepers in this class, right?
Yes.
A lot of NBA scouts really pumped up about it.
Yeah, they think that he plays extremely hard, can play 2 different positions. And he was also Aladdin, wasn't he, Bob?
Yeah, Michael Carter Williams is a player that during high school felt tremendous support from his music teacher. And his music teacher also directs the musical at the high school, and they were doing Aladdin and apparently didn't have anyone to play Aladdin, so she went to Michael Carter Williams and said, would you mind? I said, when was this, like 6 years ago when you were 5'8" or something? He said, no, this was this past year. So he was a 6'5" Aladdin in the high school play, and he said he took it in stride. It was great. He got all of the other members of the basketball team to also join the cast of the play, and they were the guards that were chasing him through the streets. So they packed the place to see the basketball team in Aladdin. There's the throwdown from Cody Zeller. A 13-0 run for the West to start off the second half, and they have tied the game.
Well, I think the one word that describes Michael Carter Williams, versatility. He's a guy that can put the ball down the ground, run your team, also can knock down shots. When you think about the backcourt for Syracuse next year, like Brandon Trish, Scoop Jardine, I mean, they have a lot of pieces that can really make their wings really run the court and make big-time shots.
P.J. Hairston finally scores the first points of the second half for the East after Adonis Thomas completed the alley-oop for the West.
You know, and I had one question for Zeller and also Plumlee. You know, with 3 guys each in their family so tall, what's the grocery bill like?
Caldwell Pope is able to convert as well. He's going to Georgia.
Pretty high. I had a brother and a sister. I mean, me and my brother used to scrap for the grub. I'm talking, if I had another brother in there, man, it would have been vicious.
And that's what I like about Mike Kabongo. He is the orchestrator. He gets everybody at the right position at the right time. Just does a really good job of running his team and his unit.
Shane Bohannon going to Louisville, found himself wide open. And then Bohannon gets the block at the other end and springs Mike Kabongo. Kabongo leaves for Zeller and an offensive foul call.
An offensive foul at the McDonald's All-American game?
How about a player in Michael Carter Williams stepping up to take the charge in an All-American game? Might have shown Jim Boeheim something. We are tied at 61 here in the second half in Chicago.
The Masters Par 3 Contest, Wednesday, April 6th at 3 on ESPN.
McDonald's Big Mac, handcrafted for that one-of-a-kind taste and made just for you.
Well, this year our garden is simply amazing.
Yeah.
Everyone's complimenting it. How did you do it? Takes a lot of love.
The real difference is this year we went to Lowe's.
Well, all our Lowe's Garden Club Select plants are grown for your local region and selected for peak performance.
Ooh, these look so healthy.
We get new plants delivered throughout the week, and we guarantee our plants and flowers for 1 whole year. And, of course, nobody beats our prices. Nobody.
Oh, so it wasn't me?
Well, you provided the love.
Experience. Lowe's. Let's build something together.
I joined Match because
A friend of mine.
my cousin, uncle,
My sister
met her husband,
met his wife,
met her new fiance on Match.com.
Match.com. More dates, more relationships, and more marriages than any other site.
I figured, why not me?
Start for free today.
At Enterprise Rent-A-Car, we listen.
And we've been listening for more than 55 years.
To customers and employees. In fact, there was an Enterprise employee who came up with the idea of picking you up when you need to rent a car.
It was a great idea.
At your house, at the repair shop, we'll pick you up. Wherever you need us, we'll be there.
Listening. Let us show you what that means.
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
While some fiber ads use supermodels, Metamucil uses super hard-working psyllium fiber, which gels to remove unsexy waste and reduce cholesterol. Taking psyllium fiber won't make you a model, but you should feel a little more super. Metamucil, down with cholesterol.
Supermodel Cindy Crawford drinks Propel Zero. It keeps her body replenished with vitamin C and D, energized with B vitamins, and protected with antioxidants. Because she knows a thing or two about looking and feeling good. Introducing new zero-calorie Propel Zero.
As we flash back to our McDonald's memories, and basketball lost this past year, perhaps its all-time greatest ambassador, as the coach, John Wooden, passed away. His daughter is on hand tonight here at the United Center to help present Austin Rivers with the Player of the Year award. He was always obviously an inspiration surrounding the McDonald's All-American game, a regular attendee for many years, as we are back at the 2011 McDonald's High School All-American game, and we check in with Quinn.
We are joined by Alonzo Mourning, and we were just talking about John Wooden, Alonzo, about how he left his imprint on everything basketball, but specifically this event. How is his memory still alive here?
Well, when you think of Coach Wooden, you think of winning, you know, and his connection with the McDonald's All-American game, you know, has created so much attention to the game, you know, because of his name and understanding that his name stands for greatness, especially on the collegiate level. And these young kids take that next step to the collegiate level, you know, this is a perfect platform, and Coach Wooden's fingerprints are all over this game.
You are captain of the McDonald's Advisory Council. What is the goal of that council?
Well, first of all, I mean, these kids have an amazing talent level, you know, and every kid that comes through here, you know, they're part of a tremendous history of alumni that have come through here, and it's important that they connect with the alumni, you know, so we want them to be not just champions on the court, but champions in the community as well, and we want to use the alumni as an influence to help them to make better decisions on and off the court. 34
years of alumni. You spoke to these athletes this morning. What did you emphasize?
Well, first of all, I told this amazing young talent, you know, that this game is temporary. And it's important that as they take the next step as student athletes, that student is a point of emphasis in helping them understand that that basketball is temporary, and it's important for them to focus on their schoolwork and using that as a crutch, because there is life after basketball, and they got to start preparing themselves for that, for sure.
Well said. Always great to see you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Quinn, I was here earlier today at the shoot-around when Alonzo Mourning got all of the players gathered in the stands to talk to them as Quinn Cook, heading to Duke next year, hits a jumper. And you want to see 24 sets of eyes locked in complete silence on a speaker. That was Alonzo Mourning standing in front of these young men and imparting that wisdom.
Well, Alonzo, I mean, tremendous career. You know, we probably cut a little bit short with the kidney ailment, but the job that he's done as an ambassador and as a philanthropist in the South Florida, Miami area has been outstanding, and he continues his work in that area today. And what a role model for these young guys to listen to.
The best thing about Alonzo, a couple of years ago, my mother got a kidney transplant. And I went down to Zoe's summer group, played in the game in Miami. And he came up to me and was like, you know, Jay, I heard your mom's going through something. If you need any help, you need any of my contacts with doctors or anything, give me a call and let me know what I can do. I mean, that's the kind of man that Alonzo Mourning is.
Well, these guys are serious. They're coming through picks. They're hitting one another. And the offense is definitely slowed.
A little sky hook from Kyle Wilcher. All of a sudden, Kareem was in the McDonald's All-American game.
Kyle Wilcher going old school, and I'm sure that John Calipari won't mind that as long as it drops. As long as it goes down.
And you gotta like Kyle Wilcher. He also has the ability to knock down the deep three, but kind of exhibits a great amount of poise on the block. Very cerebral as well. Can take his time, pass out of double teams because of his size and his length.
Another dunk for the future Tar Heel, James McAdoo. And then Wilcher does it again.
Right now, Quinn Cook, we saw him in halftime warming up, coming off the pick and roll situation.
That's Duke on Duke as Quinn Cook, guarded by Austin Rivers. They'll be playing alongside one another next year in Durham.
And he's so comfortable in the low block as you look at Kyle Wilcher right there with the sky hook. Just takes his time, does a really good job, and that's a great extension on the hook shot.
Well, and I don't understand why more young players, particularly post players, don't use that. Because what you're doing, you're taking what the defense gives you. It's at a high release point. You can get your off arm against the defender. It's almost unstoppable. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, nobody can stop him.
It wasn't almost unstoppable. It was literally, it might be, in basketball history, the only unblockable shot. Did Kareem Abdul-Jabbar ever have one skyhook blocked ever?
Not that I can recall. And I was a student of the game, so I just wonder how many of these guys know who Kareem is. I wonder. we're just going on and on. I just wonder if these guys really understand.
Here's a closer look at who Marshall Plumlee is, our ESPN Rise player profile, on one of the 3 Plumlees that will be at Duke next year. He'll join Miles and Mason.
A little Forrest Gump action. He said hidden talent, shrimping.
Straight away Rivers hits a 3.
A little bubblegum shrimp up in here, huh? For Austin Rivers, it's funny that I know his dad very well, played with him, worked out with him in the summers. Austin, by DNA, moves very similar to his dad when his dad's body was a lot more limber. As Doc is sitting close to us, and he would testify to what I'm saying.
I noticed that you said that with a bit of a hushed voice. Austin Rivers again. That's off the mark. And Birch has it deflected by Plumlee. Birch tries again. And this time Kem Birch draws the foul. Now, speaking of Doc Rivers and his Celtics, they are part of our NBA Destination Friday night's doubleheader on ESPN, first at 8 Eastern. Paul Pierce and those Celtics will continue to look for the #1 seed in the East when they take on Joe Johnson and the Hawks. Then it's Kobe and the Lakers against Al Jefferson and the Jazz. The NBA on Friday on ESPN. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern with Kia NBA Countdown. Both games also available online at ESPN3.com and on your phone.
Well, Gary McGee departs for Pitt, and in comes Kem Birch, and I think he fits into their system perfectly. The one thing that Pittsburgh always killed you with was offensive rebounds. They're one of the leading teams in the country with their offensive rebounding ability. And Kem Birch's ability to explode once he does jump, to come down to jump again, he's going to provide them with a lot more opportunities to get more offensive rebounds.
Wilcher with a floater that comes up short. Offensive rebound by Brandon Dawson.
Well, Brandon Dawson looks like he is perfect for Michigan State and what Tom Izzo expects. Athleticism, toughness, pride of Gary, Indiana. A town similar to Flint, Michigan, where Michigan State have gotten a lot of their players in the past.
Looks like we are in store for a very competitive stretch run in the 2011 McDonald's All-American game here in Chicago.
Welcome back to Geico Radio. It's savings on the radio.
Call us, Steve. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I just got a free rate quote on Geico.com. Saved a ton, and it only took me 5 minutes and 12 seconds. I was wondering, is that some sort of record?
That's a good question. Let's have a look.
Not quite. Someone's got you beat by 8 seconds.
Still, I mean, that's quite fast.
Well, what if I told you I only use one hand?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
I need new struts for my 2000 Toyota. Let me see struts by AC Delco, Monroe, and any under $50.
We might be able to get some struts from the warehouse.
Why watch the counterman tap on his computer and hope he chooses the right part? Go to rockauto.com. Auto and body parts from hundreds of manufacturers. Choose the brands, prices, and features you want. Auto parts at the lowest price. Conveniently delivered to your home or business. Log on to rockauto.com. All the parts your car will ever need.
The greatest matchups haven't happened until now. That's why we want business is about to pick up. The irresistible force meets the immovable object. WWE All-Stars. 2 generations, 1 ring. Rated T14.
Hi, I'm Dan Hesse, CEO of Sprint. The other day, I looked up the word unlimited in the dictionary. Nowhere in the definition did I see words like metering, overage, or throttling, which is code for slowing you down. Only Sprint gives you true unlimited calling, texting, surfing, TV, and navigation on all phones. Why limit yourself?
Sprint, the only national carrier to give you true unlimited. Find out more at sprint.com.
Amazing. Only 4 years ago, Derrick Rose plays in this very building, might win the MVP this year in the NBA. Blake Griffin, Kevin Love, the double-double machine for the T-Wolves. They played in the McDonald's High School All-American game only 4 years ago. And the country's top high school basketball players will display their skills again this weekend at the National High School Invitational. It runs March 31st through April 2nd. 13 of the top seniors and juniors will participate, including Austin Rivers. Watch the 3rd annual National High School Invitational March 31st through April 2nd on the ESPN family of networks to see the stars of tomorrow shine today. And here are 3 of the players that we're seeing tonight that will play in our ESPN Rise National High School Invitational coming up over the weekend.
Well, the lineage of great point guards to come through Oak Hill continue. Obviously right there with Quinn Cook. You know, Ty Lawson, Brendan Jennings, Steve Blake, the names go on and on from that school. And then for Finley Prep, they're absolutely loaded. I mean, they have Mike Kabongo, Nick Johnson plays there, who's going to Arizona, a guy that a lot of people felt should have been in this ball game, and also Amir Garrett, who's part of that really big-time recruiting class for Steve Lavin at St. John's.
Steve Lavin going to get Garrett out of Los Angeles, back in his old stomping grounds and recruiting area. But if I had to take a pick on the team to pull that out, I'd go with Finley.
Yeah, I would too.
Oh my goodness. They went down to Houston at Yates High School early in the year. Bob and I got a chance to do the game. And the thing that I remember most was Yates would get close, and Nick Johnson and Kabongo would just turn the dial a little bit and just, you know, ran them out of the gym. The second thing I remember is that was Felicia Rashad's high school. And Felicia Rashad is fine now. So I was excited to be in the house where Felicia Rashad walked once. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Jay, just so you know, we went to a flashback of the Cosby Show, and I lost my partner for a good 3 or 4 minutes. He was in his own world as P.J. Hairston gets the dunk.
You know, speaking of another recruiting situation, how about the situation Mike Anderson walks into for Arkansas? I mean, they have a top 5 recruiting class as well. A guy named B.J. Young, who's a 6'3" guard who can score with the best of them in the country. You think Matt Painter takes the job? You think he takes the Missouri job, leaves Purdue?
No, I think he resigned with Purdue from what I saw today, and so he turned down that position. And
Shane Bohannon. With a little of what we saw in the dunk contest, a pretty reverse. He's going to Louisville next year to play for Rick Pitino.
And Bohannon got that 235 frame off the floor. Nice creativity and smoothness on the finish.
Shane Bohannon won an AAU national championship when he was in 7th grade. Back in 2009, originally committed to play at Cincinnati, but then opened his recruiting options back up, and he will end up at Louisville as we take a look, according to our ESPN recruiting group, at the top commitments this coming season. And Kentucky, no surprise, all 4 of their ESPNU Top 100 players are playing in this McDonald's High School All-American game.
But just the rich get richer on that list right there.
I think it's 3 years in a row Calipari's had the top recruiting class.
Yeah, to a certain extent, the rich get richer. But that #2 class that our former colleague Steve Lavin is bringing to St. John's, I live in the New York area. It has been a long time since St. John's was that relevant on the college basketball landscape. This year, he took a group of seniors and probably got them to overachieve for a good portion of the season and maybe make, you know, who knows what type of a run they could have made had DJ Kennedy not gotten hurt. Now he's got an amazing recruiting class coming in next year to begin again.
Well, they lose 8 seniors, I think, but they still, I mean, you got some really solid small forwards coming in. Don Pointer was around 6'7", 6'8". You know, Maurice Harkless, another very dominant small forward. So he's just, and it's amazing how quickly he was able to do it.
Yep.
I mean, like we talked about, he got the job pretty late in the game and then was able to turn around a quick turn and get a top recruiting class.
Yeah, but those 4 letters on this network do wonders in terms of recruiting.
Very true.
Because these youngsters were watching him through their high school careers while he was calling games, and probably their parents, especially Garrett's, reminding him of his success at UCLA.
The takeaway by Hairston and the dunk by Kentavious Caldwell-Pope.
I think he gave me one of the best analogies. He said, Jay, I'm like the young Jedi. Mike Dunlap is like Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Gene Cady is like Yoda. I can't lose.
I love it. I love it.
Foul called on Caldwell-Pope, who's heading to Georgia, tried to take it away from Amir Williams.
I thought you were going to say what Steve would do. He'd say, Kentavious taking it in like a fullback through the middle.
I got a chance to meet Kentavious, one of his teachers, last night, Miss Carol Lane, and she said that the one thing that was always great about Kentavious is that he always said, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. He always did things like hold the door open for a lady. He was just always that kind of individual, and I think Mark Fox, you know, on top of getting a very dominant player, gets a young man who understands who he wants to be. As times move on, he continues to grow.
And a terrific shooter. Averaged over 28 points, 5 assists, and 6 steals a game at Greenville High School in Greenville, Georgia. Foul called on Marcus Teague. Let's take a look at our ESPN Rise player profile on the younger brother of Jeff, Marcus Teague, who's going to Kentucky to play for John Calipari. We have him rated as the #8 overall player and the #1 point guard in this incoming class. He played for the under-17 national team for Team USA. And he is a blur with the basketball in his hands.
You think he'll be better than Jeff Teague, his brother?
I do. I think his body is physically developed at such an early age. I think Jeff took a little while, and you know, he was phenomenal at Wake Forest before going to the NBA. But Marcus right now, you can see he's been in the weight room. He knows what the weight room is.
Here comes Teague. Trying to take it himself, muscles it up. And back the other way comes Shannon Scott, future point guard for Ohio State. And he is fouled from behind.
I think that's going to be a challenge for a lot of these guards. You know, a guy like Marcus Teague, sometimes I guess when you play the AAU circuit or high school, you're able to get into the paint and power through a lot of players. All of a sudden you get to college and you got guys down there like Jared Sullinger, 6'10", 260. You got to find a way to shoot over the top of those guys, develop floaters or maybe off-balance shots to kind of throw guys off defensively.
That's a great point, Jay, because the difference, it used to be the speed of the game, and that still requires a little bit of an adjustment. But I think the lack of strength for most high schoolers, even McDonald's high school Americans, their lack of strength. They don't understand how strong guys are at the next level.
And also, I think all these guys are stars, so they're used to picking their spots when they want to use their energy. All of a sudden, you get to college and you're playing for Rick Pitino. You can't pick your spots when you want to give energy. You have to give energy every possession on the defensive end and then attack the same way consistently on the offensive end as well.
4 new players in the game for the West, and I don't think they realize that you can't have 6. And let's see, it is Kem Birch or Adonis Thomas. It'll be Adonis Thomas that all of a sudden realized they were trying to pull the goaltender and get a power play. And finally, we are back to 5-on-5. Hey, it's an all-star game. Those substitution patterns, it's not like they worked on them. Wiltshire couldn't find the handle. Finding the handle with no problem is P.J. Hairston.
You can only imagine Kendall Marshall pushing the ball in transition. You got crazy amounts of bigs, John Henson, Tyler Zeller, James McAdoo, who are running towards the rim, who attract so much attention. And then you have a guy like P.J. Hairston and also Reggie Bullock, who comes back off injury, who can just run to the three-point line and sit there and wait with their hands wide open.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting on Tobacco Road.
The East keeps it simple. They'll put just 5 new players in the game, so everybody's out to avoid any issues. So 5 in, 5 out for the East, and Kyle Wiltshire will go to the free throw line. 2 high school coaching legends on the sidelines tonight. Bob Cimino, the 4-time New York State Coach of the Year in his 17th year at Mount Vernon High School. Coach Ben Gordon as part of the 4 New York State Public Championships. And Gene Pingatore, if you saw Hoop Dreams, that's a face that you'll be familiar with. He was Isaiah Thomas's high school coach, prominently featured in the basketball documentary. And he's been the head coach at St. Joseph's High School in Westchester, Illinois, every year since the school was founded in 1960.
Bob, are you allowed to say Isaiah Thomas in Chicago? Is that allowed?
It's easier than saying it at Madison Square Garden. I'll tell you that. We'll step aside. 7-point lead for the East, but it's been a close one throughout the 2011 McDonald's High School All-American game.
Mon amour, oh my girl, c'est vous que j'aime.
Oh, thank you, baby.
McDonald's new McCafe shakes. With a fresh look and delicious new toppings, they're a brand new way to indulge. New McCafe shakes. The simple joy of love at first sight.
It's opening day. First and 1, the Tigers battle the Yankees in the Bronx. Then the Padres take on the Cards. And in prime time, the defending champion Giants face their arch rivals, the Dodgers. Opening day gets underway tomorrow on ESPN.
Steve Levy, John Anderson, coming up on SportsCenter. The Knicks needed every one of...
I've been telling everyone about our best value unlimited plans.
We were thinking about switching to a wireless plan we could afford.
Well, now Alltel has unlimited talk and text for $59.99.
Wait, what?
Yeah, or you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $89.99. Well, that was... Got a call from corporate about that one.
Hurry in for Alltel's best value unlimited plans. Get unlimited talk and text or unlimited talk, text, and data.
They say a photograph is worth 1,000 words.
We say it's worth a whole lot more than that. Dear National Guard, are you up to it? It's up to you.
Longer. Available at Walmart. Pick some up today and help your vehicle save gas and last longer with Z-Max. Performance you can feel.
We did our best to flash back and embarrass Jay Williams in the first half, and now it's Stephen Bardo's turn in the second half. Ooh, the little up and under, the sweet move in the lane. Look at the jumper from outside, and then setting up his old teammate Marcus Liberty. These were the Fighting Illini that went to the Final Four back in 1989. Marcus Liberty, of course, was a former McDonald's All-American. The days of the high top fade.
You had that really hardcore fade, huh?
Well, we're here with Stephen Bardo, but his old teammate Marcus Liberty is in the building, and he's standing by with Quinn.
It was amazing because Marcus could see the monitor you mentioned in the high top fade. First of all, Chicago and the reception that this game has received. How do you best explain it?
I think it's a wonderful game, and I'm really excited that it came to Chicago finally, and it's just a great experience to see these guys, and especially the guys that's from Chicago, try to come out and support and watch them play, and also just watching the kid, Austin Rivers.
Marcus, you played in this game in 1987. What's your biggest memory?
That game that I played in, it was in 1987. It was in Philadelphia, and it was a great experience. Top 25 guys in the country, and going out and competing against your peers and doing pretty well at it. I loved it. I loved it.
Final Four with Illinois. Stephen Bardo, your teammate. Was he always so smooth?
Steve is 6'5", point guard. Who can stop him? I mean, the guy was unbelievable. He think the game. He was really smart out there, and that's what made us so good. I mean, you know, a lot of times when you see a lot of good teams, it's because of the point guard. And Steve Bardo was one of our leaders out there, and that's what got us all the way to the Final Four.
34 years of this game. A lot of alums in the house. Marcus Liberty, one of them, his name up here in the rafters basically all night long. It's got to feel great.
Oh, that feels wonderful. That feels wonderful to see your name up there and get recognized for that. And I just think that this game is the best of the best, and McDonald's is not going anywhere. And I was never a small fry. I was a Big Mac, so I'm happy that the game is here.
Great seeing you, Marcus. Thank you.
All right.
All right, Quinn, thanks very much. And now, I thought Steve Bardo lost a bet to Marcus Liberty, but the 50 that you gave him before the game now, that's all coming into focus. I understand.
There it is. That's right.
How that worked.
No, Marcus was a phenomenal player. Could have played point guard at 6'8". Had post up, was quicker than you would expect a man that size and that young. Just outstanding talent and represented Chicago very well.
Speaking of outstanding talent, Austin Rivers hits another deep three. That is his third three. And he has 13 along with Anthony Davis's 14. They lead the West only down by 5 with 6:43 to go.
Steve, what's the biggest difference you see in the high school game now compared to when you played?
You know, it's really, I'm gonna step off the court a little bit. It's the exposure. It's amazing. This has become a cottage industry. We see young people covering the game now. They have their own scouting services. They have their own websites. This is big business. High school basketball. You remember Doc Rivers saying that they didn't see the guys until they would get to this game. AAU wasn't huge when I was playing. We waited for the Street and Smith magazine to come out and look at the names, or we go to the Nike All-American camp or BC or 5-Star, and that's where we saw guys. But these players now, they play so many games in the summer. They're so physically gifted and athletically, they're just superior to what we've seen in the past decade.
Gilchrist inside draws the foul. There are Duke players all over the place making plays. Quinn Cook just barely missed a layup as Austin Rivers was knocking down threes at the opposite end, and saw a pretty move by Marshall Plumlee as well. In case you're just joining us, it is the 2011 McDonald's High School All-American game from the United Center here in Chicago. I'm Bob Wischusen, here with Stephen Bardo and Jay Williams. Quinn Kesnick on the sidelines as well. Under 6 minutes to go. A couple of times in the first half and at halftime, the East had a double-digit lead. But the West has made it a game here in the second half, down inside of the last 6 minutes in SportsCenter. is on deck as soon as we're done. Here comes Marcus Teague. He'll be the Kentucky point guard next year. Turns it over. Back the other way. James McAdoo. He'll be doing that for Roy Williams at Chapel Hill.
I think that's going to be a challenge for Marcus Teague as well. Running the team, running a basketball team. If Brandon Knight does decide to leave and go into the NBA, he's going to be the point guard that's going to be counted upon every single night to lead his basketball team and to make sure that guys like Gilchrist, guys like Anthony Davis, guys like Kyle Wiltshire are getting their touches. So understanding how to distribute the basketball and really be an extension of Calipari on the court.
Brad Beal. Nice pass inside to Johnny O'Brien. SEC to SEC as Beal will be at Florida, and O'Brien's going to LSU to play for Trent Johnson.
Well, Trent Johnson, LSU had a tough year. So I'm sure O'Brien III is a welcome addition.
Here comes Quinn Cook. Beal with the reverse. It won't go, but an offensive rebound and the stick back by Johnny O'Brien.
And if you're Trent Johnson, that's what you love about Johnny O'Brien. Just plays with countless energy, nonstop. That's his trademark. Very consistent with giving consistent effort.
Another guy giving consistent effort right there, Kim Birch. He's been all over the glass this evening when he's had his opportunities.
And he'll be at Pittsburgh next year. So if there is a program that epitomizes consistent effort, you'd have to think it's what Jamie Dixon has put together at Pitt. Although, again, another disappointing year in the tournament for Pitt. They get a 1 seed this year and are unable to go deep.
Yeah, they've had their issues in terms of advancing. Besides the year where Scotty Reynolds hit the shot to beat them in the Elite Eight, they really haven't had success outside of the second round. But I don't think that has anything to do with Jamie Dixon, because he does a fantastic job with the talent that comes into that program.
How about that spinning layup from Quinn Cook? Mike Krzyzewski is going to have a big highlight cut-up reel to watch from this McDonald's All-American game with the talent he has. And here's another one of his players. Austin Rivers can't hit. Gilchrist feeds it off to the wing. McAdoo couldn't convert the dunk, but there's Beal on the offensive glass.
You know, Gilchrist averages around 11.5 rebounds per game. And that's what makes him so special. He can rebound, but also push the ball in transition and find people. He's so unselfish. He's one of the most dominant, unselfish players you ever meet. Averages 21 points, does it on the offensive end, but also can lead you defensively, as you see Quinn Cook. And that's what him and Marshall Plumlee worked on the entire time before the game, coming off screen and roll.
When we return, we'll take a look not just at that play, but at a lot of the other top plays we've had tonight at the United Center.
Cheese, beef, and cheese. The perfect simplicity of McDonald's Quarter Pounder with cheese. Simply delicious and made just for you.
Rough, dry skin taking over? There's an easy way to fix that. New Lubriderm Men's 3-in-1. The first and only body, face, post-shave lotion in one bottle.
Do something different?
New Lubriderm Men's 3-in-1.
They say Verizon's 4G LTE is fast. We're here to put it to the test. We calculated only 18 minutes to board a plane. Can Andreas download a movie before the flight attendant shuts him down and save himself from his yammering neighbors?
Blah, 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 blah. 31%?
You're not gonna get it.
It's going fast. 70%.
1 minute to go.
Here she comes. She's coming.
Please power down all devices.
All right, so what'd you get?
I got a whole movie and a game.
It's America's fastest and largest high-speed wireless network. Verizon, built so you can rule the air.
Come on, Mauer, put your skirt into it. This is the show, not ladies' night at the Duluth Puttin' Hut. I've seen better swings on a porch. Hey, maybe instead of the pure control system, we should have added a make Joe not choke system. Am I right?
With a stick.
Well played, Mauer.
The show, rated E for everyone.
PlayStation.
Hey, Troy, you think this Head & Shoulders will really work for me?
Yeah, man, it's formulated to give you thicker looking hair in 1 week. Check it out. Pull of molecules, dude.
Head & Shoulders Hair Endurance Shampoo cleans to give you thicker-looking hair in 1 week.
Supermodel Cindy Crawford drinks Propel Zero. It keeps her body replenished with vitamin C and D, energized with B vitamins, and protected with antioxidants. Because she knows a thing or two about looking and feeling good. Introducing new zero-calorie Propel Zero.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of the McDonald's All-American High School Basketball Game is brought to you by McDonald's. I'm loving it.
Welcome back to Chicago here at the United Center. Close to 20,000 on hand to watch a terrific show put on by some of the best high school talent in America. And we have seen plenty of highlights from both teams.
Well, both teams have been doing a really good job running the floor and playing with a sense of urgency. Austin Rivers has been nothing less but spectacular, finishing at the rim. And kids just come out there competing, and that's what you want to see on a night like this. The best players in the country are underneath the lights. Who's going to compete? Who wants to be the best?
It is an all-star game, so there will be some dunks, and we've seen 20 total tonight. Not too bad, an even split. 10 for the East, 10 for the West.
Yeah, and Cody Zeller, beneficiary of some nice dimes. And McAdoo running the floor well.
But talking about another surprise snub, we were both talking before. We were wondering where Quincy Miller is at in this ball game. You know, a big-time recruit for Baylor, him and Deuce Bella, two guys that are really going to kind of help that program next year get back on track.
Boy, McAdoo shooting the gap defensively.
Austin Rivers finds Ken Birch. That's blocked by McAdoo.
And that's why you call Michael Gilchrist the high school version of Scottie Pippen. I mean, he took that challenge to guard Austin Rivers, and because of his length, even though Austin Rivers was able to beat him with a quick first step, he was able to recover because of those long arms.
Mike Kabongo on the drive, and Kabongo will go to the free throw line. Watching Kabongo play earlier this year, Stephen Bardo, as you mentioned, the high school game that we did involving Findlay Prep, and talking to his head coach, Michael Peck, at the time, as we take a look at the ESPN Rise player profile on Mike Kabongo. And his head coach, Mike Peck, said his speed with the ball is off the charts, that they've never had a player with that kind of speed at Findlay Prep, and that includes Corey Joseph, that includes Avery Bradley. Players that couldn't touch his speed, right, according to his coach. ESPN Rise, where high school athletes reach higher. Log on to ESPNRise.com for more information. That's saying something when you have that type of talent, and yet Kabongo's speed is at a different level.
Well, and the thing is I like about Mike is that he knows how to change it as well. He's not all just flash and dash. He can slow it down. He can set up his teammates.
Inside by Brandon Dawson, going to Michigan State. All 24 players have scored at least a couple of points tonight. Wraparound pass off of McAdoo. Austin Rivers pulls up. Birch with the long rebound.
And you know, guys, I'm going to go out on a limb. I think with the showing tonight by Chicago, I think they need to have the game here a lot more often.
I totally agree.
Cook with a little ball fake and a reverse by Quinn Cook.
I totally agree. Almost 20,000 showed up tonight to support the ladies and the men.
And we did the game 2 years ago at Miami, and it was nobody was barely there. I mean, I think these kids deserve a crowd like this. These are future stars of tomorrow. They should get a chance to play in front of a packed house every opportunity they get, especially when it comes to the McDonald's All-American game.
A lot of competition in Miami.
Very true.
A lot going on down there. But I agree with you. This is a great showing.
Maybe do it in states like Indiana a little bit, maybe, or Kentucky.
Well, we have set an attendance record tonight here at the United Center. Close to 20,000 on hand. So you have to think the folks at McDonald's that decide where the high school All-American game is going to be. If you set an attendance record, there's a pretty good chance you're coming back.
Well, and the corporate headquarters is 20 minutes from here, and so all the big wigs from McDonald's are in attendance. So it just seems like a natural fit. Center of the country, one of the transportation hubs, and you know, we sound like the tourism board here, don't we?
But I think as important as the game is, I think these kids really got a chance to see how special and how blessed they are in the bigger game of things, the game of life. I mean, to visit the Ronald McDonald House, to see kids in the situations that they're in, and to get a chance to spend time with them, it lets them know that this is about something bigger than themselves, bigger than just this little basketball game.
Austin Rivers at the free throw line, coming up next year on ESPN Sports Center as soon as we're done here in Chicago. Opening day in baseball tomorrow. So plenty of baseball news coming up on Sports Center, as well as all of the NBA highlights from tonight. And the Bulls, who normally call this building home, on the road tonight in Minnesota. So highlights of that game coming up next on Sports Center.
The score in a game like this is a pretty close score. And we're still seeing guys try to defend, running pick and rolls. It's just not loosey-goosey out here. They're still competing.
Michael Gilchrist going to Kentucky, hits a long two. He's got a double-double.
Michael Gilchrist, Anthony Davis, Kyle Wilcher, Marcus Teague. Kentucky fans have a lot to be happy about right now in the Final Four, and have another great recruiting class coming in.
Oh, followed by McAdoo, won't go. There's Gilchrist, adding to his double-double.
Telling you, SB, be afraid of Carolina next year.
Yeah, they're gonna be nice. I like James McAdoo. Silently has had a very solid game.
Runs the court hard every possession. Plays defense with intensity. What's not to like about the young man? That's right.
Plumlee with a takeaway inside, and that'll do it. So the East outlasts the West 111-96, but a great show here at the United Center. James McAdoo, a co-MVP of the McDonald's High School All-American game, along with the New Jersey product from St. Patrick's heading to Kentucky, Michael Gilchrist. 5 players for the East had at least 14 points. And we saw some of the great recruiting classes in college basketball next year on display tonight.
It was a lot of fun, and get a chance to see tomorrow's stars right here tonight on the United Center floor, the house that Michael built.
Well, Austin Rivers definitely impressed tonight. James McAdoo, Bradley Beal going to Florida, knocked down a lot of big-time threes. Marcus Teague was really quick with the ball in transition. But Brian Nash showing some signs of athleticism as well. Future stars definitely have a lot to carry, a lot of weight to carry next year, but I think they will live up to the hype.
So the East over the West, 111-96. That's your final in the 2011 McDonald's High School All-American game. That will do it for us here at the United Center. Thanks for joining us tonight here in Chicago. Coming up next year on ESPN, it is Sports Center. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Jay Williams, Stephen Bardo, Quint Kesnick, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Bob Wischusen saying so long from Chicago. Stay tuned. All the highlights and news of the day here on ESPN. It's Sports Center right now.
Gets it back from House and hammers it down. Oh, man. Don't stand under LeBron. You're going to get hurt.
This is Sports Center.
Sputtering towards the end of the season, the Bulls, Heat, and Magic all look to bounce back from troubling losses. See which teams got back on track tonight.
Largest regrets I've had in my life have been when I've disappointed people and let people down.
Jim Tressel apologizes again for his mistakes at Ohio State, but here why he feels he still has the respect of his players. Does Mother Nature know baseball's about to start? Hello, our experts reveal their favorite opening day memories, plus which Thursday matchup has their full attention.
He's an excellent shooter, so
if I could steal that ability from her, definitely will.
UConn stars Kemba Walker, Maya Moore, together for a conversation before they head to the Final Four. Don't miss the questions they had for each other.
Oh, he just threw a punch into Gilchrist.
SportsCenter is on your television, teamed with Steve Levy. I am John Anderson. Thanks for having us. You going to talk a lot, or are you just going to Twitter the whole show?
No, I'm done now.
Okay, good. Cricket news is coming.
Really?
And the Blues 10 spot. But first, Super Bowl intensity in the NBA.
You know, last night it appeared the Cavaliers would be the ones headed to Disney World after winning their Super Bowl over the Miami LeBrons. We'll get to the Heat tonight in D.C., and the Wiz came out swinging. But first, the Nets treated tonight like their biggest game of the season. Paid their toll, went through the Lincoln Tunnel, visited their pals, the Knicks. Darren